All right, I know that some of you are just joining, but at least this way I can just answer the questions that were typed up. One of the students was asking how many chances they get at the online test. You only get one chance. Please can everyone just you only get one chance, but you do have 2 hours in which to do the test. Okay, so if you need to go back and change an answer, you can do. Then additionally, there are no exams for GRT101. Okay, because of COVID outbreak, we can't have more than 50 people sitting in a room at one time. So there's no exam. That's why we've got all these extra assignments to do. Okay, or assessments. So, okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then one of the other students has just asked now, do we need to have references for tasks 2 and 3? If you are taking information from your textbooks or another source, yes, you do have to reference them. Okay. Whenever you're borrowing information from someone, you do need to reference it. Okay. All right. Please can we mute our microphones unless we're going to ask a question? You're welcome. If you want to save your data, you can switch your video off and then just switch it on if you want to ask a question. Okay. Someone was asking, sorry, just hold on a sec for me, Sinead. Okay.
Hi, Ms. Ross.
Just hold on a sec. I just want to answer one of the questions. They said the assignment has gone over by it's over by a few lines on their pages. It's fine, don't panic. If you've got 5 pages for your part A of your assignment, it's fine. If you go like 20 pages, then it's a problem. Okay. All right. Sinead, you were going to ask something?
Yes, ma'am. With the activity of this of the Susie one, like I designed my own pictures, but I didn't say it. Must I then just resubmit it?
If you can, but you know what? It's not disastrous. But let's say the marker then goes and says, "Where did you get these pictures from?" Then you can always contact me and say, "Mrs. Ross, this is the story. They've penalized me because I didn't reference," and then it's fine. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, ma'am.
All right. No problem. Okay, some of you are asking.
Hi, Ms. Ross, I have a question.
Okay, just hold on a sec. I just want to tell you with the green tick, I'm getting lots of people emailing me and asking me why there's no green tick when you submit your assignment. It's because you're just submitting it to turn it in. What's important for turning it in is that you get a receipt. So they'll say, thank you very much for submitting your assignment or whatever it is, and there'll be a similarity percentage there. That then you know has been submitted to turn it in. I would recommend keeping a copy of the receipt just as additional proof that you've submitted it. Okay. Please also remember that you have to have less than 30% similarity for assignments. If it's more than 30%, it won't be marked because then there's obviously more chance of plagiarism. Okay. Also, when you submit it, please make sure you submit it in Word format or as a PDF, but like PDF as in you've typed it in Word and you've saved it as a PDF. If it's a scanned version of a piece of paper, it won't get a similarity percentage and then we can't mark it because we don't know what the plagiarism is. Okay, so please, if you have typed it up in a different word processing format and you save it as a PDF, make sure that you're getting a similarity report from that. Okay. Any questions? Celine? Anybody? Okay. Someone's asked about the badges that you're receiving. That's just me going and saying high five, well done for submitting something. Okay. So you can feel special like you got a shiny star for doing your work. All right. They don't count for anything. It's just there so you can see that you've submitted stuff. All right. Okay. Any questions from the video people? Nothing. Yes, Michelle, you raised your hand.
Hi, I'm sorry if I missed it and you question. I got my idea visual discrimination and those two activities we needed to design. I got the idea off of the internet, but then I created my own activity based on that idea. So whether referencing, do I reference myself or do I reference where I got the idea from?
You know what? It's always worthwhile saying that you got the inspiration for your activity from so-and-so from Pinterest, but you've adapted. Yes.
Do we have to create our own activity, or do we?
Just let me quickly finish answering the other question quickly. So yeah, basically, if you've borrowed from somewhere else, then just go and say that you got inspired by such and such a page and you've created the activity yourself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry, Nicole, you wanted to ask me something?
Do we have to use our own activity, or can we use one that's off the internet and just change the activity?
You can use one that's off the internet and just adapt it accordingly. That's fine, but please make sure that you reference that you've used from somewhere else. Okay.
And can we use the pictures off the internet from that activity?
Sorry, Nicole, can you repeat it for me?
Can we use the pictures off the internet that we got the activity from?
Yeah, you can, but then just underneath each picture, put the reference for it. Okay. Okay. Somebody's just asked, what happens if your assignment similarity is 30%? It's fine if it's 30%. It's if it's over 30% that it's problematic. If you have submitted your assignment and it's got a table of contents, and now your similarity is sitting at 40, go and delete that table of contents and then resubmit it, and it should make a change. Okay. Yes.
I wanted to find out with we've submitted our online activities. Some of us that started earlier in the year, and then I've received my
Just hold on a second. Guys, please can you mute your microphones? I can't hear what Odette's saying. Thanks. Sorry, Odette, carry on.
So I've received my results for the indoor classroom that we've done, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was just wondering, so I know it's divided and it says to you, like, you've either got 20 out of 30 or however many percent there. So I was just wondering, is there something that I've missed where there's like a more detailed response? Like, because I was wondering, did I miss marks in the classroom design because I did something wrong, or because I just misplaced something or didn't put something in there? So I just wanted to know if there's a way to find out.
Can I ask you just to send me an email with your query, and then I'll have a look at it directly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm just wanting to see. All right, so someone's asking me, Karina's asking about the case study. She wants to know exactly what you must put in. Just read the rubric very carefully, because in the rubric, it'll tell you exactly what needs to be covered in each section, as well as the assignment brief. So remember, with every activity, you've got to have every assignment, you've got to have an introduction, and then in part 2 of question 2 of the assignment, you've got to talk about the different areas of holistic development. Remember the PMSECL: physical, moral, social, emotional, cognitive, and language development. Okay, talk about those, and then in part 3, can everybody hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. In part 3, question 3, they talk about Susie and what her development is like physically, morally, socially, and so on. If you want to combine question 2 and question 3, so that it just makes it easier for you to answer. So you're talking about Susie's physical development, and her gross motor development isn't very good because she does X, Y, and Z. You can combine those together, okay?
We can't hear you, ma'am.
We can't hear.
You've got to also then discuss whether Susie should be progressing to grade 1 or not. If you feel that she should progress, you have to have a decent reason as to why she should progress. And then you'll have your conclusion, and then you go straight on to part B. Part B, you don't have to worry about doing an introduction and a conclusion to that, because there you're basically providing me with answers to what visual discrimination is and so on, and the different activities that you're going to be doing. Okay, does that help everybody that's got questions about the assignment?
Yes.
Hi,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes.
Hi, I have a question. There's a bit of confusion when it comes to the involvement tracker thingy. Some of us don't understand what it is and how do we go about it. So can you please explain it to us so that we can grasp it?
The involvement tracker is, we're going to put the brief up for involvement tracker 1, which is due for, it's going to be discussed next week. Okay, so involvement tracker 1, you're going to be watching a video on writing and spelling and things like that, and from there you will then go and answer various questions that are posed to you in the brief, and then you'll post your answers in a forum discussion that will be set up specifically for Unit 6 or Lesson 6. Okay, you're not going to go post your answers in the announcements forum that I send you messages on, or the other different GRT forums. It'll be specific to Unit or Lesson 6, and it's going to be in the block that says they're Lesson 6 or Unit 6, depending on whether you CL or DL. So the link will be there, as well as the brief that you need to use to answer the questions. All right, and it'll be the same for Units 9 as well, when you're doing the discipline one, the second tracker. All right. Someone's asking me about part B. Do you put the role of the teacher and the learner as well as the instructions? Just make sure that if I can't think off the top of my head what the actual assignment requirements ask you, but if you require it, please make sure that you put all the information in that you need. So if you need to talk about the teacher's role and what the children are doing, you must put it in there. You have to have instructions for the activity so we know what the children are supposed to be doing. All right, does that answer your question, whoever asked it? I can't see you on the list anymore. Okay. For the online test, you don't need to learn anything. Just read through the PowerPoints that are up on ECI and you'll get an idea of what needs to be done, because it's multiple choice and it's true and false. So you don't have to worry about going and physically learning something. Okay. Bettina's just asked, do you have any tasks for Units 4 and 5? There are no tasks for this week, because we just wanted you guys to get familiar with what you need to do. Okay. Any more questions? Karina, your hand. Any questions?
I have a question. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I could give you seniors another shot.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, just hold on a second. Please, can you mute your microphones if you're not asking questions?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
I submitted my first class task when it comes to GRT, but I still haven't received my marks yet.
Okay, when did you submit it?
On the 8th of May.
Okay, you won't have received your marks yet. Have you submitted your online task?
Yes.
Okay, did you submit it to the late registrations link?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those ones are still being marked at the moment. We'll get them out to you as soon as possible.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
You.
No problem.
To ask.
Yes.
So when they say that we're restarting the semester, does it mean that we're restarting every single module from like lesson 1?
No, they made a mistake. They shouldn't have said restarting. It should have said recommencing. Because you're not starting from scratch. It's basically meaning that the term has now started. Because remember, we were on this ridiculously long lockdown recess. So there was no lecture or direct contact with your lecturers. So from today is now considered the start of your lectures again. But you're not going back to the beginning.
Okay, and then my grade R per view task was marked. Do I keep that mark?
Yes. No, you'll keep that mark.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Then, you know the online test that we have for this I just want to ask, do we have to study for it?
No. Look, I would suggest reading through the information, but you don't need to study for it. It's multiple choice, true and false. So it's fairly straightforward. And like if you've done your assignment, some of the questions will be pertaining to things like that. But you need to go and double check something in your textbook, you've got 2 hours to do it in. Most people will do it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Nicole?
When do we get our results back from the first project?
Some of you submitted to the late registrations link for the online one. Then you're getting it probably at the end of this week, beginning of next week. If you submitted with the first batch, then you should have received your marks already.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Salima?
So quickly, so I've submitted the online activity. I've submitted it twice. I received feedback from the first assignment, from the first task, and I'm still waiting for the second online activity. Which mark will you be? Did
you make any changes to your submissions?
Yes, I did.
Okay, then we'll use the second submission.
Okay.
Okay. So even if the mark is lower with the second submission, we'll have to take that because you sent it in at a later date. Okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Nazreen's just asked for the Durban campus when you're going to get your marks. All the CL students, like I said in the first session, there was a delay with one of the markers. She was having issues with marking. So those will then be submitted to you as soon as possible, hopefully by the end of the week. Those. Okay. So that's for all the contact students. You'll get your marks by the end of the week. All right. Anything else? Someone just asked, do you need cover pages for your tasks? Please don't put cover pages, guys. Not that you're going to be submitting these to turn it in, but it's a bit redundant. You don't really need to do it. Okay, just so long as your name appears on your assignments and your tasks, that's fine. Okay.
I don't have any questions related to GRT.
Ma'am?
Yes.
I also typed a message to you just now, but I could have sworn there was extra reading for lesson 4 and 5 earlier on, but they seem to have gone.
If you scroll down, if you go to unit 4 and you just scroll a little bit further down, it says there are additional resources. Just have a look and see if it's there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, somebody just asked where you will get your marks. So basically, when your marks are released, you go into either your dashboard, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you should be able to see a graph, and you can click to choose what module you want, and then you can see the marks there, or you can actually go into the GRT page and click on grades, and your marks should appear there. If, however, you submitted your online task as a draft, which lots of you accidentally did, then those of you, you'll have to just contact me directly to get your mark, because for some reason it doesn't release the draft marks. Okay, so when you submit your assignment to turn it in, please make sure you do it correctly, because once the data's gone, it's gone. I can't accept anything later. Your assignment must be submitted. Sorry, someone's got their microphone on and is talking. You submit your assignment, you must make sure that it's one document. Part A and B must be one document, because whatever gets submitted is what's marked. So if you've only submitted part A and now you've got part B, it's not going to work. It all has to be one document. Okay.
Hi, Mrs. Ross.
Yes.
I wanted to know for Susie, right? Can we speak from our point of view, or do we have to speak from the third person, like we are assessing it from our point of view?
So if you say, I believe that Susie should repeat grade 1, should repeat grade R because she's not emotionally ready or whatever, that's fine if you use it that way. Rather than saying,
and in the intro.
Yes.
And in the intro, do we have to, after the definition that we put, do we have to say that she's like whether she promotes it or she has failed?
Not in the introduction, only in the conclusion.
Okay.
The introduction, remember, you haven't started talking about it yet. So the introduction is just dealing with school readiness.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, somebody is asking about when do you start online classes? This is an online class, okay? Basically, whenever you're getting your PowerPoints, it's part of the online class. There's a recording. All the lecturers have made recordings of their sessions. And for the GRT, we're going to have sessions every Wednesday when there's a unit scheduled for you to go and ask questions pertaining to the unit as well as the upcoming assessment for that unit. I'm working on a program for you so you can see what's happening when. It's a calendar, and you can see when all your assignments are due, or your activities are due. And then you can also go and see what lecture is happening and who's going to be delivering the lecture. But that starts from today. Okay. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Yes, Mrs. Ross.
Yes.
I would like to ask, I did my assignment for Suzette and I sent it to Tenatin and my plagiarism percentage was okay, but I missed the part that I was supposed to attach the rubric. Must I resend it?
The rubric.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. If you haven't submitted the rubric, don't worry about doing the rubric. It's not disastrous. Okay. All right.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
How many pages is our assignment required to be?
I would say your part A for your assignments will probably be 5 pages. It doesn't have to be 5 pages, but it really should be much more than 5 pages.
And B?
Part B, it just depends on how many pictures you've got in that section, because a lot of people will do like a game and then you're taking pictures of the different stages of the game. So it just depends on how detailed your activity is going to be.
So it can go up to like 10 pages. Is that okay?
Fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And please remember your reference list as well.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
I'm not sure if this question is going to make sense to you, but for the assignments on Susie, do we have to speak about PEMSICLE in regards to Susie first and then speak about like what a child should have developed in all of those aspects, and then later on have a paragraph on what Susie doesn't have and why she shouldn't be progressed?
You can combine question 2 and question 3. So question 2, where they're asking about the various criteria for holistic development and whether she can progress. And then you can combine those two. So combine the discussion about Susie as well as the different criteria as one. If it's going to make it easier for you, you can list them separately.
Okay, thank you. And do we speak about it in the sense that we are judging whether Susie should be progressed, or if it were another teacher to...
No, because Susie's in your class, you'll be saying, I feel that Susie should stay back another year or should progress.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sarah, you've just asked, is it okay for your reference lists to be combined for part A and part B? That's fine. You can put your reference list right at the end and have A and B put together.
First, just one question. Do we have to attach our criteria, our list to the end of our assignment?
The rubric.
The rubric, yes.
Don't worry about it. Fine.
We don't need to attach it.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Teresa's just asked, part 1 of the assignments, can it be less than 2 pages? It shouldn't be less than 2 pages because then you haven't provided enough information. I'd say 3 pages should be your minimum.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a...
Yes. Someone wanted to ask a question? Okay, someone's asking about the referencing. Do you have to reference in ascending order? It needs to be in alphabetical order. So if you're using Joe Soap and Susie Jones must appear before Joe Soap. Okay, so you'll have Jones, comma S, and then the year and reference it, and then afterwards come the next part of the referencing. Please remember that you must do it in alphabetical order, because otherwise it's going to be marked incorrect. And don't use bullet points, because using bullet points is the incorrect way of referencing. Have a look at that reference guide that's on our ECR page, and you'll find all the information on how to reference correctly. Okay. And please remember to reference whilst you're writing your assignment, as well as at the end. So you must cite, which is when you're referencing and say, according to Ross, 2019 or whatever, and then you quote, as well as having the reference list at the end. Okay. Someone's saying they don't understand part B. Okay. Part B of the assignment is quite straightforward. You've been told you need to make 2 different activities, one for visual discrimination and one for visual memory. You need to discuss what visual discrimination is, what visual memory is, and the other questions that they ask you, and then you make an activity to develop visual memory, an activity to develop visual discrimination. So when you're doing that, you're going to talk about how the game will be played, what's required to play the game, and so on. Okay. Tamika, I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? No. Okay. I have tried. Is someone asking a question? Okay.
Ross?
Yes.
So with my activity, I've already handed it in, the case study. So I got one of my referencing from an article, but now it was an online article, and with the referencing, there was no option to put the URL there. So I just added it at the bottom of my referencing. Is that right, or should I have not added it?
No, you need to be, basically with referencing, we need, if we really want to be able to find that document or the journal article or whatever. So we would have needed the address. So if you've put the address there, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, okay. Sarah, you asked me about the question and answers thing. I am recording it at the moment. Hopefully it'll be an easy transition for me to just upload the recordings directly to ECR, and then you can have a look at them. Okay. Yeah, the online tests that you need to do for revision purposes, they should be open presently, and they will close on the 8th of June. Please remember that these do not count for March. If you would rather leave it until after you've done all your other activities, you're welcome to do so. Someone's microphone.
Rose?
Yes.
Miss Rose?
Yes.
I have just submitted my task again.
Okay.
Because it shows I didn't submit it. Now, for some reason, it shows 100% similarity.
Okay. It's basically the exact same document that you submitted previously.
Yes, because it showed it wasn't submitted.
Okay. Send me your query, and then if you can take a screenshot of that similarity thing, and then I'll have a look at it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys.
We continue.
Ma'am, we can't hear you.
Ma'am.
Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to stop the meeting now. I've made recordings. I'll upload them later. And I'll put the presentations, the PDF version up on ECR for you as well. Okay.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you all for coming, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.